Thank you for joining us this morning at this public scoping meeting for the Little Egbert Multi-Benefit Project. My name is Lori Price. I work for the Department of Water Resources, and I am acting as the CEQA lead coordinator for the project.
Hi, everyone. I'm Morgan O'Brien. I'm a senior engineer with the Department of Water Resources and serving as the project manager for DWR on the Little Egbert Multi-Benefit Project. Thank you so much for being here today.
Next slide, please. So here's our agenda for today's meeting. We will cover why we are meeting today, what is the purpose of today's meeting, where the project is located, what we are proposing for the project. We will explain the environmental process and the overall project timeline. And following the presentation, there will be an opportunity for you all to provide comments on the project. Next slide. Some virtual meeting tips for today. We are using Zoom. Today's meeting is being recorded and will be posted on our project website sometime following the meeting. Closed captioning has been enabled for the meeting. You can turn the captions on and off by clicking the CC icon on the Zoom taskbar at the bottom of your screen. You will have an option to provide comments and ask questions at the end of the meeting, or at the end of the presentation, sorry. During this time, if you would like to make a comment, please use the raised hand feature to join the queue. You can find a raise hand button on the Zoom taskbar at the bottom of your screen. You can also find the raise hand button next to your name in the participants window. If you hover over your name, you can click and raise your hand to speak. If you've dialed into the meeting, you can use the raise hand feature by dialing *9. When it's your turn to speak, you can unmute by dialing *6. We will take public comments in the order of raised hands of the participants. When it's your turn to provide a comment, we'll call on you and you'll be able to unmute to share your comment. Until that time, everyone will remain muted. Your verbal comments will be recorded. Therefore, when you comment, please begin by sharing your name and, if applicable, the name of your organization. If you would prefer, questions and comments can also be submitted using the chat function. We will address your questions following the presentation portion of the meeting, and comments in the chat will be recorded. If you need technical assistance during this meeting, please send a direct chat to Sabrina Washington with DWR via the Zoom chat window. To send a direct chat, click the blue button that says Everyone and select Sabrina Washington. And then you can type your question to her. Next slide, please. So today our intent for this meeting is to provide a respectful space to ensure that participants can fairly and clearly ask questions and share ideas, comments, and concerns on the proposed project. During the public portion or public comment portion of the meeting, we may need to impose a 3-minute comment time limit to ensure that all comments can be heard. This will depend on our number of participants today and number of comments we receive. Next slide. So why are we all meeting today? Next slide, please. Today's meeting is being held consistent with the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, statute and guidelines. The purpose of this meeting is to share information on the proposed project and hear your comments on the scope and focus of the environmental review. DWR is the CEQA lead agency for the Little Egbert Multi-Benefit Project. As CEQA lead, DWR must consider opportunities to avoid or mitigate the impacts of a project and identify project alternatives. We are also obligated to facilitate public review, consult with Native American tribes, and notify responsible and trustee agencies that may have permit or approval authorities or interests in this project. DWR filed a notice of preparation for the Little Egbert project on June 13th with the Office of Planning and Research, which can be found at the first link shown on this slide. The NOP is also available on DWR's public website in the public notices section, which is shown in that second link on the slide. The posting of the NOP starts the public scoping period, which is a 45-day public scoping period that will close on July 28th. During this period, DWR is soliciting input from the public, Native American tribes, and other agencies on the environmental setting, potential environmental impacts, mitigation measures to reduce environmental impact, and alternatives to the proposed project. Your comments will help to inform our environmental impact report that we will prepare for the project. You can submit your comments by mail, email, or during the scoping meetings. Details on how to submit these written comments will be provided later in the meeting and can also be found in the notice of preparation. All comments will be recorded and documented in a scoping report, which will be appended to the future draft EIR. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Lori. The proposed Little Egbert multi-benefit project has three main overarching objectives to accomplish. First, the proposed project aims to enhance public safety with respect to flood capacity in the Yolo bypass and surrounding areas. Second, to protect and enhance natural ecosystem processes, to increase native habitat and support native species to create a healthier and more self-sustaining ecosystem in the North Delta area. Lastly, the proposed project hopes to protect and enhance opportunities for recreation in the local region for people interested in getting outside in the Rio Vista and Solano County areas. DWR is performing the CEQA analysis because we've determined that these improvements may result in potentially significant effects on the physical environment. To start, I'd like to talk a little bit about where we are in our river system. Next slide, please. So where are we? Next slide. The proposed project is located at the southern end of the Yolo bypass, immediately upstream of the city of Rio Vista in Solano County, California. The site includes State Plan of Flood Control levees maintained by Reclamation District 536 on the west and Solano County Water Agency on the south for the Mellon levee. The site is lined by farm berms and levees on the southwest. Along Cache Slough, which makes up the northern and eastern sides of the project site, a restricted height levee is maintained by Reclamation District 2084. The southeastern part of the project is co-located with State Highway 84. And the site is located downstream of the confluence of Lindsay Slough, Prospect Slough, Cache Slough, and the Sacramento River Deep Watership Channel. That area is commonly referred to as the Cache Slough Complex. Near the south end of the site, Cache Slough combines with the Sacramento River and Steamboat Sloughs. And the Highway 84 and Cache Slough Real McCoy Ferry landing are also located at that south end of the project area where you can see them pointed out on the figure to the right. The proposed project is located in the Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta per section code 12220. The site itself that we're looking at this project on is approximately 3,150 acres large, and the habitat area is currently estimated to take up just under 3,000 of those acres. There's approximately 5.2 miles of levee along the eastern side of the project. We're currently partnering with the Little Egbert Joint Powers Agency to explore this project, as well as engaging with local landowners, interested parties, and local government entities. Next slide, please. So next, let's talk a little bit about what's happening on the project in this study phase so far. Next slide. The proposed project goals are aligned closely with the overarching objectives. To achieve the proposed objectives, the team has developed project goals, which include degrading portions of the existing restricted height levee along Cache Slough and constructing inflow and outflow openings along Cache Slough to connect the floodplain and improve water conveyance during flood events. Another goal is aimed at improving and or repairing the existing state plan of flood control levees and other local infrastructure and flood features to accommodate increased on-site flows. We'll be looking into grading and placing fill, material to construct subtidal swales, wave break islands, habitat berms, all to provide native habitat for fish. We'll be studying the potential to revegetate the site with native trees, shrubs, and marsh plant species to restore and enhance upland, tidal, subtidal, and wetland habitat. And lastly, the proposed project may provide new or enhanced opportunities for recreation consistent with flood protection and habitat restoration goals. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Feature alter. Oh, sorry, pardon me. One back. Thank you. The project is currently in the feasibility phase, and that portion will be wrapping up this summer. The proposed project currently has a number of features under consideration that include levee rehabilitation to address past performance concerns and to bring the levee up to current design standards for bypass levees. The design team is also looking at creating levee breaches at the north and south ends, along with what we're calling balance breaches between them to allow for higher tide waters to enter the site between those north and south breaches. The site will require significant grading within the proposed project in order to create the various types of habitats that are being discussed. The habitat islands allow for both high value windbreak benefits for the wide site that we have and allow additional habitat areas to be more naturally occurring throughout the 3,000 acre proposed site. There are a wide range of habitats being considered for the project, including upland, riparian zones, tidal marsh, subtidal vegetated areas, and subtidal deep habitat space. There are features within the proposed project which will need to be replaced, including a tide gate along the levee alignment, which allows for drainage from the Watson Hollow Slough, as well as providing irrigation water to landowners behind RD 536. The project team is currently looking at these options as a part of the feasibility study, and that information will feed the CEQA analysis and other design efforts to support CEQA. With that, I will hand it back over to Lori.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So as Morgan mentioned, one of our project goals is to restore and enhance a mosaic of native habitats on the site. So as we develop alternatives, one focus of the design is based on providing ecological benefits for sensitive species in the Delta. Restoring tidal inundation and creating subtidal and tidal aquatic habitats is expected to provide refugia, spawning areas, and foraging and rearing habitat for species such as Delta smelt, longfin smelt, salmonids, and green sturgeon. Construction of upland habitat berms and riparian vegetation plantings would provide shaded riverine aquatic habitat for native fish, as well as upland refugia for giant garter snake and resting places for raptors. Increasing and enhancing the abundance of these habitat types would contribute to the diversity and connectivity of these habitats throughout the Delta. Next slide. So I know the writing is maybe a little small on this. This is also included in the notice of preparation if you need to read it. But based on the CEQA environmental checklist and preliminary evaluations, DWR has identified that the proposed project could have the following direct, indirect, and or cumulative environmental effects. All of the topics listed on this slide will be studied in the environmental impact report that will be prepared for the project. If you have concerns regarding any of these topics or thoughts about additional topics that are not listed that you would like to see addressed in the EIR, please let us know by submitting your comments. Next slide. So what is next in our process? DWR is hosting 3 total public scoping meetings throughout our 45-day scoping period. Today's meeting is our second virtual scoping meeting. We will also have an in-person meeting down in Rio Vista, not far from the project site, on Tuesday, July 11th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Veterans Memorial Building. All of these meetings will have the same format and provide the same information, with a presentation provided at the beginning of the meeting, followed by time for receiving public comments. Next slide, please. This graphic depicts the process for completing an environmental impact report and selecting a project alternative. Essentially, the environmental process contains 3 phases: the scoping phase, the preparation of the draft EIR, and preparation of the final EIR and selection of our alternative. So we are currently in the scoping phase, as I said, which was initiated on June 13th with the filing of the notice of preparation, and will go until July 28th. This phase is all about collecting information on the existing conditions and potential impacts, and hearing from you about what environmental issues you would like to see addressed in the environmental document. Following the close of the scoping period, DWR will confirm the issues to be investigated and then move forward with preparing the environmental impact report. So once we have a draft ready, it will be circulated for public review, and public meetings will be held to receive comments. And after the close of that public comment period, we will prepare written responses to all the comments received, make revisions to the document, and then select a project alternative and certify the environmental impact report. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Laurie. The current estimate for the project timeline, assuming that an action alternative is selected through CEQA, is as follows. We are currently in the scoping phase of the project, and a public draft of the EIR is planned to be released next summer. The final EIR is planned to be complete at the end of 2024, and provided that an action alternative is recommended, the design and permitting effort is estimated to take at least a year, and then constructing this size of a project is anticipated to take about 3 construction seasons, so 3 years. Next slide, please. We thank you for joining us today and taking the time to learn more about the Little Egbert Multi-Benefit Project. The project will be open for comments, as we've mentioned, until July 28th at 5 p.m. We also thank you in advance for your help ensuring early identification of issues related to the implementation of the proposed Little Egbert Multi-Benefit Project. Commenters will automatically be added to the proposed project email list, so keep an eye out for future information. If you are interested in getting project information but don't have a comment, you can ask to be added to the email list without commenting as well. Simply email our project email listed on the screen, or write the request in the chat box here, please. As we've mentioned a few times through the presentation, our scoping period is 45 days instead of the minimum 30. As well, we have 3 scoping meetings instead of the 1 that's required. So the information will be similar at each of these presentations. I'm sure if you've been attending, you've noticed. This is an effort to ensure that people who want to attend and have an interest in the project are able to attend. If you know of any other entity, person, or organization that might have an interest in this project, please share our project contact information with them, and I will show the rest of that on the next slide as well. Written comments on the scope of the EIR must be received by DWR no later than 5 p.m. on July 28th. Comments or questions should be sent to the address shown here, which is listed in the NOP as well as posted online. If you want to send a comment via email, please email them to Little Egbert MBP, which stands for Multi-Benefit Project, at water.ca.gov. Again, that's Little Egbert, MVP, at water.ca.gov. With the subject line, please, of Little Egbert Multi-Benefit Project NOP. Both oral and written comments will be accepted today at this virtual meeting, as well as at the in-person meeting on July 11th in Rio Vista. Next slide, please. If you have any questions regarding the project, you're welcome to get in touch with Lori or I at the project email, Little Egbert, MVP at water.ca.gov. That is in our Outlooks. So we get those emails. The project updates and information can be found at the DWR Little Egbert Multi-Benefit Project website, which recently went live. You can find that website at water.ca.gov/Little Egbert, or at our local partner, the Little Egbert Joint Powers Agency or LEGPA's website at legpa.org, LEJPA.org. Next slide, please. I would now like to open the floor to public comments. As a reminder, based on attendance and the number of questions, we may use a 3-minute timer. But before you state out your comment as well, please state your name and organization or relation to the project for the record. Who are we going to be hearing from first? I don't see any hands raised just yet. But if you would like for us to go back to a particular slide, we can do so. It looks like we don't have any comments in the chat, but we'll give a few minutes for people to think on all the information that we poured out during this presentation. We hope you enjoyed us being able to sit at the table with you. We will wait until 9:30 with all of the cameras and mics on, and then we'll go to a video off and mute. So if you want, we'll still be here. So if you still have questions and you want to think about anything, please feel free.
Okay, so we are going to turn off our camera, but we will still be here in case anyone thinks of a question or comment that you would like to provide. Thank you. You can see something coming up.
Hi, this is Misty Coltwriter from Solano County.
Awesome. Hey, Misty.
And my question is associated with the proposed levee improvements and the state plan of flood control improvements, and also the neighboring proposed cash flow mitigation bank along with this project. And I would like to know how the sequencing of these three components, or with the cash flow mitigation bank, will be coordinated or proposed.
That is actively being worked out. We're in such an early phase that is something that I believe all of us are very interested to know. We're working with LEGPA and the developer for the cash flow mitigation bank, Westervelt Ecological Services, to determine that. We don't have an answer right now, but we can certainly get back to you when we've got that information.
Thank you. That would be great. If you could also add Solano County or add myself as an interested agency, that would be awesome too.
You got it. Absolutely. Thank you, Misty. We have more image. Maybe back to the comment. I think. All right, well, we'll go back on mute. Yeah, and off camera, on mute and off camera. Thank you so much, and we will be here. So just come on mute, off of mute, or send us a chat if you have any comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the captioner, Ramona.
Hi, Ramona.
Hi, are you guys still seeing my captions? Because like the last couple sentences, I didn't see them coming up on the Zoom screen. So I wrote in brackets just to let people know, standing by for public comments. Do you see that?
I don't see anything on the slide, no.
Oh, that's weird.
Is it? Oh, we are still recording. Okay, so that's not why. Oh, I see it now. Standing by for public comments. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I'm not seeing it on the Zoom screen, but as long as your end is seeing it, that's good.
Yeah, I
Okay,
saw it.
perfect. All right, thanks. And are we waiting until 11? Is that the plan?
That is the plan.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. For the public. Hi, we have a question asking, will there be live feed for the July 11th scoping meeting or any recordings of the session? And the answer is no. We will not be recording the July 11th in-person event in Rio Vista. Thank you for the question. We will have the same presentation along with posters available to discuss afterwards. We will continue to be on standby if any other questions come about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending, everyone. We're not seeing any more public comments, so we are going to close today's virtual meeting. Our next and final scoping meeting will be held at the Veterans Memorial Building in Rio Vista on Tuesday, July 11th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we hope to see you and others there. And if you have any comments, please remember our comment period closes on July 28th by 5 p.m. and written comments may be provided to us by mail or email. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.